STL from MQ4A. Yeah, I had to jump out there for a minute, but we're back. You got on the porch there, Scott?
Yeah, John, stand by for just for a second, okay? W4STL.
Roger, standing by.
Hey guys, we have the Richmond ARES net on now, so please hold your traffic until after the net. This is Whiskey 4 Papa Kilo Romeo net control. You're welcome to join us when I call for check-ins, so please stand by.
Q4A, mobile now clear.
Good evening. This is Whiskey 4 Papa Kilo Romeo W4 PKR with the Metro Richmond ARES net for Thursday, February the 6th. Again, your net control station is W4PKR. My name is Jim, Juliet India Mike, and I am tonight's net control operator. If at any time during this net you should need to relay emergency traffic, please use the word break and the net will yield for your traffic and assist you in any way we can. Metro Richmond ARES is part of the ARRL and the Virginia Section ARES program. This net meets weekly on Thursday at 1900 hours on this, the 145.430 repeater KG4 MRA. The purpose of this net is for training and announcements for the amateur radio community with an emphasis on emergency communication. We ask that all participating stations follow standard net procedures that would be used during an active emergency net. There is no requirement to be an ARES member. All amateurs who are within range of this repeater, regardless of location or affiliation, with the proper license class, are invited and encouraged to participate in this net. This is W4PKR, Whiskey 4 Papa Kilo Romeo, with the Richmond ARES, Metro Richmond ARES net. Okay, some general housekeeping before we get started with check-ins. Please stand by. Okay, this is a directed net, which means stations must be acknowledged by the net control station before proceeding with comments or discussion. One feature of this net is the discussion of the night. The discussion of the night is intended to be a way to learn more about amateur radio, emergency preparedness, and general safety. So we hope everyone will participate. Now, I was unable to come up with a emergency communications oriented topic for tonight because I'm feeble-minded. But I would like to ask all y'all how you got started in ham radio. Were you a scanner head like myself or a shortwave listener, which I was also for many years? Were you in emergency communications with the state or a local entity? Were you mentored by an older relative or friend or something like that? So how did you get started in the radio hobby, and how did you get started in amateur radio? And that's the discussion for the night. Let it drop. I'm going to be taking check-ins in two groups. First will be mobile and portable, and after that all other stations. I will, after the mobiles and portables check in, I will go to their comments first, as they may be out walking their dog or driving or something like that, so I want to make sure we get to them right away, and then I'll take comments from all the other stations. When checking in, please get your call sign phonetically using the proper ITU alphabet and your first name. I will get your location and a received signal report when I call back for comments. Also, if you're an ARES, Skywarn, or MCOM official in any way, please identify yourself. And also, if you have any traffic for the net, and by traffic I mean information or announcements of any kind, please say traffic while you're checking in. So again, this is W4PKR, Whiskey 4, Papa Kilo Romeo. I'm going to ask for two things also. Please give your call sign phonetically, yes, but also slowly, because I'm a slow guy. Also, I'm going to ask that you check it in this manner. First, give your first say this is, and then let the carrier drop like so. And then give your call sign phonetically and your first name. So, let's start with mobiles and portables. Please call now. This is W4PKR Net Control.
This is Delta 6, Foxtrot, Mike, Ron, Romeo Oscar, November.
This is Kilo Oscar 4, Charlie Papa Echo, John.
And hold. Hold, please. John, who just checked in, can you please repeat your call sign? I'm sorry.
Sure, Jam. It's Kilo Oscar 4, Charlie Papa Echo.
Okay, roger that. Let's continue with the mobiles and portables. Please call now.
This is Whiskey 4, Sierra, Charlie, Lima. The name is Scott.
Okay, do I have any other mobiles or portables? Okay, nothing heard. Let's go to KD6, Foxtrot, Mike, Ron. And do you have any comments? Would you like to tell us how you got started at ham radio?
This is Kilo Delta 6, Foxtrot, Mike. I do have you loud and clear. I am in Western Calico. I actually got interested in radio back in 1956, believe it or not. The original Kilo 6, Oscar Sierra, Oscar Bill Parkinson got me started. He got me started. Then I went in the Army as communication, but I didn't get my first ham license until 1970. Then I got my ham license again back in 1985 or so, and I always did like communications. Over.
Roger that, Ron. Thank you for that. I don't want to make you feel old, but 1956 was 1 year before I was born. So you have been a ham for a short while, it seems like. Thanks for checking in, and thanks for sharing. Let's go to Kilo Oscar 4. I think it's CPE. It's Charlie Papa Echo. Is that right, John?
Yes, Jam. Kilo Oscar 4, Charlie Papa Echo, John. Located in Glen Allen. Signal is loud and clear. I really got started in the radio game as a kid with a shortwave radio with a long wire antenna over to the neighbor's rooftop, and probably built every kit that Knight and Heath made for quite a while, and got my novice license in the mid-70s, and didn't pursue that very much, but in the last 10 years got into the listening phase of monitoring ham radio. And then I think 3 years ago got my license, and now just trying to learn more and get to know more people and get to understand the sport and enjoy it even more. Back to that control jam.
Okay, that's interesting stuff. Thanks, John, for sharing that, for joining us tonight, and hope to see you each week when you're able to. Let's go to Whiskey 4, Sierra Charlie Lima. Scott, your location and your radio story, please.
Yes, sir. I got my ticket roughly 24 years ago, and when I went to take my test, NQ4A was one of the teachers that signed off on me. I was one of the first ones to finish my test, and I used to be a scanner buff, had a scanner, listened in on amateur radio, and really enjoyed it. And I have been into it now for 24 years, and I'm real happy with it. I just recently got back into amateur radio about a month ago, and I really enjoy it, and I stayed off the air for about a month, and have just gotten back into it. So, with that said and done, I really enjoy the hobby, and just got back into it a month ago, and it's just been enjoyable learning all the new hams that have been in here, and it's been quite enjoyable. And this is W4SCL, Whiskey 4 Sierra Charlie Lima.
Okay, Scott, thanks for sharing that. Also, what's your location, please?
I am located at the Goochland-Henrico County line. I live right on the county line. If you throw a rock across the creek, you'll be in Goochland County.
Okay, fine business. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for sharing your story, Scott. I'm going to take general check-ins now. This is the Metro Richmond ARES net. This is Whiskey 4, Papa Kilo Romeo, your net control station for this Thursday. And once again, please give your call sign slowly and phonetically and your first name, and I'll get your location. And also, if you could please, I keep forgetting to do this myself, but give me a signal report, if you will. So please call now, general check-in.
This is
Kilo Bravo 2 Oscar Yankee India Rob.
Kilo Oscar 4 Uniform Oscar Romeo Scott.
This is Kilo Quebec 4 Romeo Alpha Mike Will. This is Kilo Oscar 4 Kilo Alpha Delta Randy.
Net hold, please. Net hold. Will, you were transmitting at the same time as Randy, so I only have the last part of your call sign, Romeo Alpha Mike. What is the suffix and the number of your call sign in the beginning?
Yeah, that's Kilo Quebec 4 Romeo Alpha Mike.
Okay, thank you for that. Net, let's continue. Try not to step on each other by using the method that I demonstrated. And let's continue with check-ins to the Metro Richmond ARES net.
This is Kilo 4 Oscar Whiskey U Mike Linnell. This is Whiskey 4 Romeo Tango Hotel 5. This is Whiskey 4 Hotel Alpha November Alex.
This is November 2, Juliet Delta Hotel.
Okay, net hold, please. Alrighty, so far I have KB2OYI, Rob, KO4 UOR, Scott, KO4 KAD, Randy, KQ4 RAM, Will, KK4 Oscar Whiskey Uniform, Mike, W4 Romeo Tango Hotel, Bob, Whiskey 4 Hotel Alpha November, Alex, and November 2 Juliet Delta Hotel, Andre. Did I miss anyone checking in? Please call now. This is Whiskey 4 Papa Kilo Romeo Net Control.
Key 4 Sierra Charlie Lima Scott.
Scott, I had you before earlier, so I didn't miss you. Did you want to recheck and add information?
No, sir. I already gave my information there. I did not hear you call my call sign back in. So, W4 SCL at the Goochland and Henrico County line.
I got you down on the list and acknowledge your traffic from earlier. So if I didn't do that, apologize, and Thanks for checking in. Okay, any other check-ins, general check-ins? Please call now. Give your call sign slowly and phonetically. This is W4PKR, Whiskey 4, Papa Kilo Romeo, net control.
This is Kilo Oscar 4, Romeo Mike Victor, PJ, Northern Henrico.
Okay, TJ, I got you. Anyone else before we go to the discussion of the night? Okay, nothing heard. Let's go up to Rob. Just a reminder, the discussion of the night is how did you get started in ham radio? Were you involved in the radio hobby in another form? Were you mentored? How did you get into the bestest hobby in the world? Let's go to Rob KB2OYI.
This is KB2OYI, Rob in Verina. Jim, I read you loud and clear. Thank you for running that. You're doing a mighty, mighty fine job running things and navigating through the what have you. Discussion of the day. Me and my brother were introduced to the hobby as youths through our father and uncle. Their call signs respectively were KB2MOE and WA2SEI. And we thought talking to people around the world and them talking to all their buddies on their HTs on the local 220 repeater at the time was fun. So we got licensed. I was 12 years old in 1992, and I'll be turning 45 here next Friday. So that was our introduction to the hobby, and then around that time we started screwing around with CB radios too, and scanners and fun stuff like that. Back in the early 90s, it was fun to listen to on the scanner your neighbors talk on their old battery-operated cordless phone telephone conversations. I don't know if anybody used to be into that fun stuff. So, all right, Jim, good to hear you tonight. KB2OYI, back to you.
All righty, Rob, you're booming in tonight from Verina, and I did used to snoop on my neighbors back in the 80s with my scanner. I felt slimy, but it was so much fun. Anyway, let's go to Scott, KO4UOR. Good evening. What's your radio story?
Good evening, Jim, and everyone on the net. Yes, Scott in Western Henrico reads you loud and clear. You know, that's a really great question. I mean, I know that I am a pandemic ham in the sense that I was licensed in November of 21, but I can't remember what led me to get licensed. I may have stumbled across information about the Bofang UV5R and started listening. I really can't remember. But yeah, great hobby. Enjoy it a great deal. And yeah, nice topic. This is Kilo Oscar 4, Uniform Oscar Romeo. Sending it back to you, Net Control.
All righty, Scott, thanks, and don't feel bad. I don't remember what I had for breakfast, so no problem there. But I'm glad you're in the hobby, and frankly, for someone who just started a few years ago, you handle yourself like you've been at this for a very long time, so I have to give you kudos for that. Okay, let's go to my buddy KO4KAD Randy. What's your radio story? And I know you're in Western Henrico, and give me a signal report, please. And by the way, everyone is coming in loud and clear here at my perch in Western Henrico. Randy, go ahead.
W4PKR, KO4KAD. Good evening, Jim, and everybody on the net. Yeah, this is Randy in Western Henrico. I read you loud and clear. My radio story is started messing around with CVs a little bit. Gosh, maybe the late 70s, early 80s. And then we all used CVs in our trucks when we were hunting. Then by the late 80s, early 90s, all the companies, service companies that I worked for, predominantly ran Motorola business UHF radios in our service trucks. And I really, I don't know, I just thought radios were cool. But once cell phones came around, radios kind of went by the wayside. And then right before the pandemic, I found an old Cobra CB in my garage, put it back in my truck. There was no one to talk to. And somehow I found out about GMRS, so I went down that rabbit hole, and there was no one to talk to. The next step was ham. So right beginning of the pandemic, or just before, I got my ticket, my technician license, and haven't looked back. And yeah, it's a great hobby. I really enjoy it. And now there's actually a couple of GMRS repeaters, but back then there wasn't any around. So that's all I've got, Jim. Thanks for running the net. You're doing a great job. You always do. And we appreciate it. 7-3 from KO4KAD.
All righty, fine business, Randy. Thanks for checking in, and thanks for running this group. And thanks for sharing your story. Before I go any further, my story is that in high school in the early 70s, a friend of mine, we were just chatting at lunch, and he said something about how he could listen to the New York City Police Department. I lived in New York, and I was piqued. And so he said, well, come on by after school and I'll show you. And he had a realistic, or also it's a Radio Shack realistic Patrolman SW60, which is a multi-band portable radio. And we were listening to the local police and fire and ambulance. And it had aeronautical, you name it. So I was hooked. I could not afford that multi-band rig, but there was, at my local Radio Shack, a Patrolman Mini, which had AM broadcast on one side and VHF high on the other. And back then, the New York Fire and Police were all on VHF high. Anyway, that started me, and one thing led to another, and finally in 2003, I got my tech license as I avoided CW. I'm one of those no-code techs. Well, now I'm a general. Anyway, so that's my story. Let's go now to KQ4 RAM. Will, your location, signal report, and your radio story, please.
This is KQ4 RAM, Will, in Eastern Hanover County. Good to hear you, Jim. You're coming in loud and clear. My story's kind of shorter. First of all, when I was in college back in the early 90s, I had a professor, one of my engineering professors, offered us extra credit if we went and got our amateur radio license. Well, back then I didn't have the time, money, or inclination, but it was kind of always been in the back of my head. So fast forward to 2024, my brother had purchased the two Baofeng UV5R pack, and he decided not to do anything with them, so he gave them to me. So I programmed them and learned to listen to them, learned to program them, did some listening, and kind of said to myself, hey, I'd like to be able to transmit. So I got my technician license back in April of 2024, and I got my general license last summer. And 3 Yaesu radios later, I'm doing VHF, UHF, and HF. Also, I have a GMRS license. So it's been a lot of fun. Been enjoying meeting all you guys. Really looking forward to the Hanover Radio Club that's launching. Had a lot of fun at the Marathon Gym. So plan to do that again. That's my story, and I'll send it back to Net Control. This is KQ4RAM. Clear.
Alrighty, Will. Thanks for sharing that, and thanks for helping out at the marathon. I appreciate everybody that does what they can. Okay, let's go to, and good luck, by the way, with the Hanover group. I know you got a number of hams up there, so that should be a good thing. Let's go to KK4 Oscar Whiskey Uniform Mike and Glen Allen. Signal report, please, and your radio story.
Yes, this is KK4OW. You are loud and clear. I'm up here in Glen Allen. My radio story, I dabbled in a little bit of CB in the early 70s and sort of fell out of it, but back in the early 2000s, I got into the prepper mode, long storage food, picked up a CB radio, handheld, I could put them out in the vehicle, and realized that, well, in a real situation, that's not what's going to do much. And at the plant, we had my electronic technician, who's about my age, in the 70s now, had gotten his license in 6th grade. He actually took a bus from Richmond down to Richmond and did the test. And he sort of mentored me, and I got my passed my technician's test at RAT test in 2013. And it's been a great hobby, and I really enjoy it. Learning something every day. Thank you for doing the net. Great as always. 7 degrees, everybody.
Fine business, Mike. Thanks for checking in. Your audio is a little bit low. It's clear. Got a powerful signal, but you might want to boost your mic gain a little bit, or get closer to your mic next time. So thanks for checking in. Let's go to W4 Romeo Tango Hotel, Bob. Your location, please, and a signal report, and your radio story. This is W4 PKR Net Control for the Metro Richmond ARES Net.
Yeah, good evening, Jim, everyone on the net. I'm located in central Hanover, and you're loud and clear coming into Hanover. I started out in early teens with a heat kit shortwave receiver I put together, and then I was kind of hooked from then on. I got into CB radio when I was in high school, had one in my car, and a Midland 23-channel base station at home. And then I got some shortwave radios off and on, listening to the BBC, etc. And then later on, Hoppy, NW4U, went over his house, and I saw everything about ham radio. That really got me interested. So, I took my test, and that was 28 years ago, and enjoyed every minute of it. So, anyway, that's my story, and you're doing a fabulous job tonight, Phil. Jim. Phil. Jim, I'll turn it back over to you. W4RTA.
Okay, Bob, thanks. Thanks for the compliment. I appreciate it. And for sharing your story. And I have fond memories of shortwave listening back in the 70s and 80s when there was actually a lot of stuff to listen to. It's much more sparse now, but I still listen from time to time. And you're coming in loud and clear from Central Hanover. You got a good signal. So thanks for checking in, and good to hear from you. Let's next go to Alex, Whiskey 4, Hotel Alpha November. Your location, please, and a signal report, and your radio story.
This is W4HAN. The name here is Alex. I'm located in Dongle, Virginia. Signal report is loud and clear. So, if my radio story is back in 2023, around April, I finished photography and I was taking pictures of trains a little bit on the side. So I was figuring out how to figure out when they would come. So I bought a Valtang UV5R and just started listening to that. And then I got a job at King's Dominion in June, so I started listening to them when I was off of work and on break and showing people at work how I could listen to them and stuff. So did that, and I got licensed in November of 2023. I was taking physics at the time, and I was like, this is pretty cool. It relates a lot to the radio license, and I didn't really do anything with it until this past December, just because a lot of school stuff was in the way and stuff like that. But now I'm where I'm at today, and just showing people, like my friends and stuff, how amateur radio works, and hoping to get them interested. But if I don't, so have at least good memories of it. So this is W4HAN, back in net control.
Thanks, Alex, for checking in, and welcome to the hobby. Can you repeat, please, your location? I didn't pick that up.
I'm located in Doswell, Virginia, so in Hanover County.
Roger that, Doswell. We have, let's see, there's 3 of you from Hanover this evening. That's pretty good. Okay, thanks for checking in, Alex. Next, let's go to Andre, November 2, Juliet Delta Hotel. Your location, a signal report, and how did you get started in radio?
Net Control, this is N2JDH. Name here is Andre. I'm located in Lakeside, that's in Henrico County. You're coming in 5x9. You're coming in with a very clear signal. I got into ham radio. Let me say a short story of it. I started out with a scanner. I looked at the no-code technician book from Radio Shack, because I used to hang out at Radio Shack like a nerd. Couldn't find a location to get the test. I was thinking it was in Connecticut. And I said, oh, well, I guess I'm not going to get it. I didn't look any further. So I got into CB radio. CB radio got me into EMS. And I was a radio officer for EMS. I finally said, it's time to get my license. And one of my scout leaders, W2TTT, he got me involved in it. And we had a standby for a bad storm. We had to have a shelter. So basically, he got me involved in it, showed me slow scan television. And I said, okay, it's time for me to go ahead and get this license. And ended up getting my license in 2013. And then 2014 upgraded to general. Since then, I've enjoyed the hobby, been part of many clubs, and can't get enough of it. I think I'm going a little too crazy with radios. I think I got 22 now. I need to stop. But I enjoy it. I'm actually glad I met you guys here on the radio, moving here to Virginia. So I'm going to say thank you guys for welcoming me into the group. And so I'll turn it back over to Net Control. This is N2JDH.
Okay, thanks for sharing Andre, and welcome to the group. You're always welcome here, and also at the Rats weekly Rats Net on Wednesdays, also at 1900 hours. There's no such thing as too many radios. Just keep that in mind. It's an impossibility, limited only by how much space you have. Okay, thanks for checking in, and let's go to the last person on our list, TJ, a fellow net control operator, KO4 Romeo Mike Victor, and I think you said you're in Northern Henrico, and a signal report and your radio story. This is W4 PKR net control for the Metro Richmond ARES net.
Hey, net control, PJ here, Papa Julia. You can easily remember me because I'm a little bit cooler than PJ, but I am not a net control. That was PJ Tango Echo November Charlie. Other than that, though, I appreciate you running the net. You're moving us here into Northern Henrico. Radio story, since I've always been into radios ever since I was a kid. Finally got my license in 2021. Got my dinner ticket back in October of 2024. And kind of hang out on the digital mode quite a bit. But that's my radio story, and again, I appreciate you holding that. Again, moving in here to Northern Henrico. I'll say 7-3 and turn it back over to Mexico.
Okay, PJ, thanks for checking in, and I got you down as Papa Juliet instead of Tango Juliet. Sorry about that. Listen, your audio dropped out considerably while you were talking, so it was hard to make out some of what you were saying, so just keep that in mind. I'm not sure if it is an antenna thing or a mic thing or what, but you started out okay, and then you dropped out considerably for the rest of your transmission, so keep that in mind. I'll hang out after the net if you want to work on that with me for a few minutes. Okay, this is W4PKR Whiskey 4 Papa Kilo Romeo net control for the Metro Richmond ARES net. Are there any late check-ins at this time? Please call now.
This is Kilo Delta 4 Yankee Victor Victor, KD4 YVV, Jeff in Prince George County.
Okay, net hold. I have KD4 YVV, Jeff in Prince George. Anyone else that would like to check in, please call now and give your call sign slowly and phonetically. Nothing heard. Let's go right to Jeff in Prince George. Jeff, please give me a signal report and tell us your radio story. How did you get started in the hobby? And yeah, and this is W4PKR net control.
Told somebody a long time ago, never hand me a mic. It could be a little bit long-winded, but nah, I'll try to shorten it real quick. I'm about 3 air miles away from Prince George County Courthouse. I love it out here. Used to live in Colonial Heights. I started in Petersburg, where I first got involved in amateur radio and any type of communication. Actually, I found a walkie-talkie 100 milliwatt radio, and the antenna was broke. When I was a little kid, I had no idea what was I supposed to do. So a guy down the road from us that was related, he turned around and fixed the antenna and showed me his big radios. And helicopters and all kinds of stuff, heat kits and you name it. And so I decided to go ahead and give me a chance to be third party, talk to overseas in Germany. And I thought it was kind of cool. Didn't understand it
too much, but anyway. So he decided to work on getting my license as a young boy. And the coolest part about it, people don't know, today you got all kinds of sources of information with the answers and questions, multiple choice. Well, back then you had to study all kinds of stuff and you didn't know what you were going to get. And then we went down to Norfolk FCC office and took the exam as a young boy. And then from that, you had to upgrade to technician within 1 year. You may not know that, but anyway, you had to upgrade or you couldn't talk on the radio until you did. And then later on, I got my general, and unfortunately, I got involved in CB radio, which I did have a fun time. Hold on. Well, also, I got involved in that. The next thing you know, it turns around, I let it get too much involved in the local stuff, and then I lost my license because of the grace period. And built it up to where a few years ago, I went back. That's why I got that call, KD4. I laugh all the time I call it because I went off. I want to make sure I'm still there. And then went on ahead and upgrade, did the no-code tech, and then finally, a few years later, I was in the state rig in Chester over here and got on the radio talking about doing away with code, and I hated it, but anyway, I did it back then. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to upgrade. And so I went to a church that was located in Richmond and upgraded. And that's where I'm at today. I listen to everything from shortwave radio, scanners, you name it, I've had it. And so now I'm at a comfortable point. I don't have to be involved in too much radio except enjoy the hobby. And I'm at the age now, I don't want to get too involved in everything. So that's pretty much my story. It's KD4, YDV, back over to Exec Control.
Okay, Jeff, I copied all that. You have a little bit of noise in your signal, but not much, sounding very good. And you're coming from a good distance, so you're doing well tonight. Thanks for sharing your story. And there's some housekeeping notes regarding other MCOM nets in the area, so please stand by for that, and then I'll wrap it up. This is W4PKR for the Metro Richmond ARES net. Okay, other local ARES or MCOM nets that are called during the week are, on Monday nights at 1900 hours, the Powhatan ARES net meets on the 147.315 repeater with a positive offset and a PL of 74.4 hertz. Also on Monday nights, the Goochland County MCOM net meets at 2000 hours on the 147.270 repeater with a positive offset and a PL of 203.5 hertz, which is pretty unusual for the area actually. Everybody else is 74.4. Okay, on Tuesday nights, the Dinwiddie County ARES net meets at 2000 hours on the 147.390 repeater with a positive offset and a PL of 74.4. Also on Tuesday nights, the Chesterfield ARES net meets at 2100 hours and is called by David KN4LQN on 147.360 repeater with a positive offset, and it does not require a tone. No tone is needed. Stand by. And again on Tuesdays, there is the Chesterfield County ARES WinLink net. More information about that is available at chesterfieldares.us website. That's chesterfieldares.us. More WinLink on Wednesdays. All day long, you can check into the WinLink Wednesday net by sending a WinLink message to David KN4LQN at winlink.org. That's KN4LQN at winlink.org. And by the way, they only accept the WinLink messages via HF or VHF, UHF. So you can find out more at the at the WinLink Wednesday website. Let it drop for a sec. Also on Wednesday nights at 2000 hours is the Tri-Cities MCOM net. Net meets also on the 147.390 repeater with a positive offset and a PL of 74.4. Okay, I'm going to make one last call for any late check-ins. This is Whiskey 4 Papa Kilo Romeo net control for the Metro Richmond ARES net. Please call now. Alrighty, nothing heard. This is W4PKR. I've been net control for the Metro Richmond ARES net. I'd like to thank the KG4MRA repeater for the use of this repeater for the net and for everyone that stood by to let us gab about our radio hobby. Please join us again next week at 1900 hours. It is now 1950 hours. We had 13 check-ins. So thanks to everyone for checking in. This is W4PKR, and I'll be standing by.
And that is 216, emergency transport. 13,140, Street Road. Family Medical Building.